Hi guys, welcome to this video. Kleena here. Today I'm going to be taking you through the solutions to this question, and this question is based on the circle. So let's get right into it. We're told in question A that the circle C has the following equation, and we're asked to write down the center and the radius of circle C to give your answer in terms of h where appropriate. So there's a specific rule that you can use for this in the log tables, and I'm just going to bring it up now. On page 19, it tells us that when the circle is in this form, okay, when it's in x minus h squared, y minus k squared is equal to r squared, the center is hk and the radius is r. So that's going to be very important for this question. So I've just written down the form that the circle is in here. So our center is going to be minus h minus k. So it already has minus h, so it's just going to be h, and then here it's plus 3, so it's going to be minus 3 because it's minus k. So that's our center, h minus 3, and our radius, so 12 is equal to r squared, but we want r because r is our radius. So let's find the square root of both sides. The square root of r squared is just r, so our radius is going to be root 12. So that's our answer for A part 1, and for getting these two answers correct, you're going to get a total of 10 marks. A part 2 also is very much based on a rule in the log tables. It tells us that the perpendicular distance from the line x minus 4y plus 7 is equal to 0 to the center of circle C is 5 units. So we'll just remember the center from the last question. The center was h minus 3. So we're working out the distance from that center to the line x minus 4y plus 7, okay? And we're told that it's 5 units. So what we're really doing here is working out two possible values of h. So let's find the formula in the log tables that's going to help us with this. Back on page 19 in the log tables, we'll find here the distance from a point to a line. So that's what we're dealing with. So it's the modulus of ax1 plus by1 plus c over the square root of a squared plus b squared. So I've just written out the formula here, and now I'm just going to start labeling my points. So the point is x1, y1, and then here a is 1, because that's the coefficient of x, b is the coefficient of y, which is minus 4, and c is 7. So let's start filling it out. So a by x1 is 1 by h, so it's just h, plus b by y1, so that's minus 4 by y1, which is minus 3, plus c, which is 7. Put that all over the square root of a squared, which is 1 squared, which is just 1, plus b squared, which is minus 4 squared, which is 16. And let's let that equal to 5. So we have the modulus of h plus 12 plus 7. So that's going to be plus 12 plus 7, which is plus 19. All over the root of 17 is equal to 5. I'm going to bring this root of 17 up. So we now have the modulus of h plus 19 is equal to 5 root 17, because I multiplied the root 17 by 5 when I bring it up to the right hand side. Now, because we have a modulus, we have two options. We can let it equal to 5 root 17, and then we can let it equal to minus 5 root 17 and work out h that way. You could also square both sides. I think it's easier just to let it equal to the positive and the negative, okay? So first of all, we have h plus 19 is equal to 5 root 17. And then we're going to have h plus 19 is equal to minus 5 root 17. And this is going to give us two values for h. So we're going to have h is equal to 5 root 17 minus 19. And we're going to have h is equal to minus 5 root 17 minus 19. So our answers are in Cert form, which is how they asked us for them. So here are two values for h, and for getting these correct, you're going to get a total of 15 marks. The last question, question B, tells us that the circle S passes through the points 8, 1, A3, and A minus 5 as shown in the diagram to the right, where A is between 0 and 5. The radius of the circle S is root 20. Find the equation of circle S. So what we're going to do here is we are going to use the fact that the equation of a circle, there's a general equation of a circle, again you can find this in the log tables if you don't know it, is x squared plus y squared plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c is equal to 0. Because we're given 3 points on the circle, okay? So we can fill these points in for x and for y. We're also given that the radius of the circle is root 20. Another fact in the log tables is, based on this equation, that the radius is root g squared plus f squared minus c. Okay, so we're going to end up with a 3-term simultaneous equation with g, f, and c. And once we find out what g, f, and c are for this particular circle, then we'll have the equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in my points a, 3, and a minus 5, because they both have a in them. So I'm thinking that they should cancel quite easily. So I'm going to fill in for a3 first. So a is x and 3 is y. So we have a squared plus 3 squared, which is 9, plus 2gx. So that's 2 times x plus g, but here it's just 2ga, plus 2fy, which is 2 times y by f, and 2 times y is 2 times 3, which is 6. So we have 6f plus c, which we don't know, is equal to 0. So I'm going to write that as a squared plus 2ga plus 6f plus c is equal to minus 9. And now I'm going to fill in for a minus 5. So again, we have a squared, and then we have minus 5 squared, which is going to give us plus 25. We have 2ga, we have 2fy. So again, it's 2 multiplied by y. So that's 2 by minus 10. 2 by minus 5, my apologies, which will give us minus 10f plus c is equal to 0. Let's rewrite it the same way that we did with the first equation. We have a squared plus 2ga minus 10f plus c is equal to minus 25. We can see now that there's a lot of similarities between these two equations. So let's see what we can cancel and what we're left with. So I'm going to bring this top one down here, and I'm going to change the sign right across. So I have minus a squared minus 2ga minus 6f minus c is equal to plus 9. So we can cancel the a's because it's a squared minus a squared, 2ga minus 2ga, c minus c. So then we have minus 16f is equal to minus 25 plus 9, which is going to be equal to minus 16. Minus 16 divided by minus 16 is 1, so f is equal to 1. So that's our first key piece of information, that f is going to be equal to 1. Now the next thing we're going to do is use the third point, and that point is 8, 1. So let's fill in the equation for 8, 1, and then we know what f is, so we can fill that in this time. So 8, 1, xy. So we have 8 squared, which is 64, plus 1, plus 2gx, which is going to be 16g, plus 2fy, which is going to be 2 by 1, which is just 2, plus c is equal to 0. So we're going to be left with 16g plus c is equal to minus 64 minus 1 minus 2. So 16g plus c is equal to minus 67. So that's going to be our first equation. And that's just with our two terms, g and c. So now we know that we're just going to be left with two simultaneous equations, okay? So that we can find out what g and c are. The second one that we're going to use is the radius. So we know that the radius is root 20. And that is equal to, as I said in the start of the question, g squared plus f squared minus c. Now we know what f is, so we have root 20 is going to be equal to g squared plus 1 squared, which is just 1, minus c. Let's square both sides, so we get 20 is equal to g squared plus 1 minus c. Let's simplify, so we have g squared minus c is equal to 20 minus 1, which is 19. So this is our second equation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write my first equation, okay, with c on its own, okay? So I'm going to write c in terms of g. So I have c here is equal to minus 67 minus 16g. And I'm going to fill that into this equation here. So we're going to have g squared minus 67 minus 16g is equal to 19. And we're going to get a quadratic equation in g. So we're going to get g squared plus 67 plus 16g minus 19 is equal to 0. We have g squared plus 16g, 67 minus 19, that's going to give us 48, plus 48 is equal to 0. So this is our quadratic equation in g. It's going to give us two values for g, and we're only going to use one of them. So to work out this quadratic equation, I'm going to find two multiples of 48, which add together to give me 16, and that is 12 and 4. So I have g squared plus 4g plus 12g, which add together to give us 16, plus 48 is equal to 0. Here I'm going to take out g, so we're left with g plus 4. And here I'm going to take out 12, so again, we're left with g plus 4. So that means that g plus 12 is equal to 0, g is equal to minus 12, and g plus 4 is equal to 0, so g is equal to minus 4. Now there can only be one value for g, and which one is it? I know that the value for g is going to be g is equal to minus 4. And I know that because minus g is one of the center points of the circle, okay? So either 4 or 12 is going to be the center point of the circle. And if we look at it, it has to be 4 because this point here is the furthest that it goes. And this point here, 8, is right next to it. So it's not going to be 12. It's going to be somewhere in the middle here, okay? So it's more than likely going to be 4, okay? So it's going to be 4 here on the x-axis. So our value for g is minus 4. All we need to do now is find our value for c. So we can use any one of these equations. I'm going to use g squared minus c is equal to 19. And I'm going to do that up here. G squared minus c is equal to 19. So it's minus 4 squared, which is 16, minus c is equal to 19. Minus c is equal to 19 minus 16. Minus c is equal to 3. So c is equal to minus 3. So now we have our three values for c, for f, and for g. So let's fill them out into the equation, okay? And I'm just going to do this down the bottom here. Now, please do note that in an exam, you have to keep all your work inside the proper working space because it mightn't be scanned, okay? But just for the purpose of doing this visually for you here now, I'm going to do it outside the box. But in an exam, if you need extra working space, go to the back of your booklet to the extra working space, okay? So I know that I have my g, my f, and my c. So what's my equation going to be? It's going to be x squared plus y squared plus 2gx. So that is 2 by minus 4 by x. So that's going to be minus 8x plus 2fy. F is 1, so it's just going to be plus 2y plus c. But c is minus 3, so it's minus 3 is equal to 0. So that is our equation. So that is our final answer. Again, in an exam, it should be inside the box. But for getting that answer correct, you're going to get a total of 5 marks. Okay, everyone, so that's all for this question. I hope you found this video helpful and that it might have cleared up anything that you were struggling with when going through the exam papers. Thank you all very much for listening. I'll see you in the next video.